Look at the access logs of any modern enterprise, and you'll find the security perimeter is no longer defined by human employees typing passwords. It has been rapidly eclipsed by a completely different class of actors. The entities logging in and moving data are overwhelmingly machines. Non-human identities, or NHIs, now outnumber human identities by a ratio of at least 100 to 1. Traditional identity and access management was built for people. It relies entirely on standard human resources processes. A person is hired, they get an account. They change departments, their permissions shift. They leave the company, the account is deactivated. But machines aren't hired or fired. NHIs are born from rapid software events. Code is deployed, a server auto-scales, an AI agent is invoked, and a new identity is spun up instantly, without a single human approval ticket. Applying a slow, human-centric governance model to these high-speed machine lifecycles creates massive blind spots. An identity is created for a temporary script. The task finishes, but the identity and its access remain active indefinitely. Ignoring the severe difference in how machines and humans operate is the direct cause behind the systemic credential leaks and lateral movement breaches plaguing cloud environments today. A major part of the problem comes down to a dangerous engineering misconception: treating an API key, a token, or a secret as if it is an actual identity. This diagram illustrates the flaw. If 3 different microservices share the same API key to access a database, it breaks the core logic of zero trust. When you look at the audit log, it's impossible to tell which service pulled the data. Accountability is destroyed. To fix this, we must structurally decouple the actor from its credential. The identity subject is strictly what the actor is, like a Kubernetes pod or AI agent. The authentication mechanism is how it proves trust, like an API key, token, or certificate. Separating what an entity is from how it proves its legitimacy is the absolute prerequisite for governing automated cloud environments at scale. We visualize this separation with a governance matrix. The vertical axis represents the identity subject, where governance rules anchor. There are 5 non-human classes: legacy service accounts, ephemeral workload identities, infrastructure identities tied to compute, device identities for physical endpoints, and fastest-growing AI agent identities. AI agents introduce a unique danger because of their non-deterministic behavior. They can independently reason, plan, and chain complex tasks together, often operating with authority delegated by a human user. Accurately classifying the identity subject is the only way to assign a deterministic human owner and define the correct operational lifespan for that specific machine. The horizontal axis represents authentication mechanisms, mapping security controls across a risk spectrum. On the far left, in the highest risk zone, are static secrets, whose exposure window is virtually infinite. Moving right are signed tokens, enabling fast, stateless authentication across distributed microservices. But tokens carry a critical vulnerability. They require incredibly short time-to-live limits to prevent replay attacks. Further along are certificates and hardware attestations, cryptographically binding identities to specific execution contexts. Finally, cloud-native hard-coded keys. Pushing a workload out of the static secret red zone and into the cloud session green zone is the mechanical objective of modern security architecture. Because machine behaviors differ so much, traditional threat detection models built to monitor humans are useless here. Flagging an impossible travel alert across the globe doesn't mean anything for an automated workload. Defending this new matrix requires non-human identity threat detection and response, or NHITDR. This detection model builds 2-layer identity graphs to track paths of transitive privilege escalation. Instead of seeking stolen passwords, it establishes behavioral baselines for the code. If a microservice suddenly attempts a mass download from a vault, automated response instantly isolates the workload. Defending machine identities requires programmatic, graph-based threat detection that operates at the exact same speed, volume, and complexity as the actors themselves. Achieving zero trust for non-human identities requires an automated lifecycle that wraps completely around this architectural matrix. It starts in the discovery phase. Organizations must mandate a strict governance checkpoint during application onboarding, assigning deterministic human ownership before any code reaches production. Next is provisioning. You enforce least privilege access by default and utilize secrets managers to dynamically issue credentials just in time. In the active monitoring phase, you continuously log all machine-to-machine traffic to detect behavioral drift the second a workload strays from its assigned baseline. Finally, the decommissioning phase introduces an absolute operational requirement. When a specific task completes, both the credential and the permissions are instantly revoked. Tying identity lifecycles directly and strictly to software execution eliminates the persistent threat of orphaned access and credential sprawl. To enforce this kind of automated governance across fragmented, heterogeneous cloud environments, the industry relies on open, standards-based frameworks like SPIF. These frameworks guarantee that every non-human actor is cryptographically verified, strictly scoped to its necessary function, and seamlessly decommissioned. The ultimate architectural endgame is the complete eradication of static, long-lived credentials from the enterprise. Security teams must stop governing secrets and start governing actors. In a highly automated, AI-driven enterprise, machine identity is no longer an engineering byproduct. It is the foundational, load-bearing perimeter of modern security.